Hello, everyone, and welcome with us. Today, I'm joined by one of our accredited and certified coaches, Katriana Jones, and we're just going to have a conversation and talk about what she's doing in the coaching industry, how our course was for her, how she found the course, and the support that she's got. And I'm going to put it over to her to just introduce herself a little bit, and then we will start with our questions.
Hi, so I'm Katia. I started my Coaching Minds journey in October last year, and I finished it, I think, just at the beginning of February. And since then, I've been setting up my practice, which is called Autistically Mentoring, working with autistic individuals and working on their goals, self-exploration, and overcoming barriers to reaching those goals.
Thank you so much. And it is quite an interesting field that you're going into, working with the autistic people and people that experience that. And I think there is a need in the world for that. It's not well known in all instances, but it's definitely something to open our minds up to. I've asked you to tell you a little bit ourselves. My next question is, what brought you into wanting to become a coach?
That's an interesting question. I've always liked working with people, and I was working in student support, which was a very frenetic atmosphere. Lots of crying students, lots of very funny problems, as well as very tragic problems, and I really enjoyed that. But my health took a turn for the worse about coming up to 18 months ago. And I stopped being able to work in that kind of atmosphere, to work regular hours. And so I decided to train as a coach, thinking that it would give me a bit of what I've always enjoyed, which is working with people, working in a supportive capacity and helping people to blossom as themselves, and give me what I needed and still need, which is a slightly more flexible working pattern, the ability to work from home. And what I'm enjoying as a kind of bonus is the ability to work particularly with the clients that really interest me, which for me is neurodivergent clients.
I like the way that you keep on bringing up working with people, making that difference for people, that support that you're giving. And that's where coaching ties in so beautifully to how you want to support people, and also the flexibility that you need with your health, and that you can adapt but still work in the same type of field. And thank you for bringing that up to us. I would also like to ask you what attracted you to Coaching Minds and choosing the Coaching Minds program?
Well, Coaching Minds, I sort of stumbled across. I was very overwhelmed by the number of different coaching courses that there were out there that could get you accredited. I didn't really know which self-regulating organization I would want to be accredited with. So I was drowning a little bit in all of the choices, and eventually I went onto the EMCC website, and they had a list of all of their accredited coaches, and I just started clicking through the list and working out where each of them had got accredited. And then I went onto the web pages of those courses and just started looking at them. And I think Coaching Minds was only the second one that I came across, and I just went through the list, and Coaching Minds really appealed to me, partly because I think the first of the online classes was on YouTube, and it was really well structured. I found it really accessible. It felt like it was going at a pace that was really good for me. I felt like the even just the provision of online classes in that format was a really good format for my learning style and for my learning pace, because it was so flexible. And it also, when I then spoke to Paul, and the price turned out to be very appealing, much better than a lot in the industry, possibly better than any definitely better than any I came across. And also I was really happy that at the time I wasn't actually able to speak. I have periods of mutism, and Paul was just really great about adapting how he pitched what would have been an intro call to someone who actually couldn't speak at the time, and he made it so accessible, and he made me a little video so I could watch it in my own time, but it was specifically pitched at me and what I was interested in.
From what you're sharing is how personalized the program basically became to you. It wasn't just, this is the structure, this is how you do it, and you need to follow these steps. There was a personal element to it. That's what I'm picking up from what you're saying, and that you could do the course at your own time, in your own manner. And I know you are one of the coaches that has done it within a few months, where some other people take a year to do it. It's totally the way the program is structured, that you can do it in your own time. And how it benefited you in how the way that Paul has adjusted for you during your difficult periods, but still yet got the message across to you on how the program works and what we are offering. And also that you found us on the EMCC website, that it is an accredited program. And also the way that you've done your research is very interesting to me, is that you actually didn't just go to the first place that you saw, that you actually went and you had a look. And as you said, you were overwhelmed. And through the video that you got that gave you that structure from Coaching Minds really made a big difference. And again, thank you for sharing that with us, because it just opens up for us to see how we approach people, how we get out there, and getting that feedback. We can again improve and do our things from our side to make the program accessible for everyone. And also what I want to ask you is the other coaches in the program. How did you find the support from the coaches and the supervisors on your journey to your certification and accreditation?
It was really good, in short. I already talked about how Paul was really good at adjusting for my needs before I'd even started the program, and he was my supervisor. So it was really great that he was at the other end of WhatsApp or an email or a message on the hub. And I could come to him with really stupid questions, and he was really patient with that. And he checked in on how I was finding things. So it was really good support. And even though I was kind of left to my own devices to do things as worked for me, in terms of the pace and the order that I did things in, I never really felt sort of abandoned onto a website. It wasn't like that. I was always able to check in and see people. I loved the workshops in which we were able either to watch someone coaching someone else, or demonstrate coaching, or be coached by someone else, but in a setting where we would get feedback. That was actually one of my favorite things, one of the best learning opportunities for me, because I love seeing how other people will do it. I really enjoyed getting to know other people who were going through the course around the same time as me. We did some practice coaching sessions on each other. Actually, later today, I'm going to be coached by someone that I was going through the course at the same time as, for his practice hours. And I'm now in a small peer group of people who graduated at the same time as me. And we are meeting regularly to talk about our coaching practices and keep ourselves accountable for the actions that we're taking to set up our businesses, which is really supportive. And what's nice about that is also, if we discuss something and we we can't think of the answer between ourselves, there's still the coaching hub to post a question on and find out from a wider community. So yeah, and in all, it felt very much like being part of a community. And I was a little bit worried with all of the remote courses that I was looking at, that I was just going to be set loose on a website that I wouldn't necessarily be able to navigate.
That's a key point, because I also did a course before, and it was purely a website. You did your videos and you automatically got your certificate, and there was no interaction. Mm-hmm. So for me, what you're bringing in is still that personal aspect, still that support that you're getting. There is the coach community in the hub that you can come to, ask your questions. You've got that smaller support group that you formed with people doing the course at the same time than you. It's for me, it's that human element is still there. It's not just computer generated, and it's good that another coach is also bringing it up and seeing it from their, hearing it from their perspective. How important that support is, and you've highlighted the workshops that you found very valuable. What else in the program that you like, that counted towards your growth?
So the 40 practice hours, obviously that's necessary for accreditation. That was probably the biggest source of my growth. And it was scary going into the first few sessions, and I wasn't necessarily expecting that, because I had worked one-to-one with people plenty before. But after having done I can't remember how many hours it is, 140 hours of remote learning, a lot of hours of remote learning, suddenly I was thinking, my goodness, there is just so much that I need to put in practice in these practice hours. And it was great being forced to do that. And getting all of that information from the video sessions, and then sort of re-establishing your confidence working with people again after you've learned so much and thought, oh my goodness, I knew nothing before. Putting that into practice was wonderful, and getting the supervisor feedback on the 5 recorded sessions that we had to do, and then an assessment, that was helpful also in building up my confidence with what I was doing, because it's really scary being watched coaching, but that's actually, once you've done that and you've subjected yourself to the scrutiny, it's really valuable. So that was good. And I also really enjoyed the seminars, because they're quite long and you get to know people in them. And actually those some of the demonstrations, they get quite personal, I suppose. But that's also quite valuable, and it brings you together as coaches, and it also is a great learning experience in terms of your own practice and being more comfortable going to very emotional places within your own practice. So I feel like you might have asked me what my favorite aspect of the course was, and then I just described the entire course. But I suppose, yeah, the practical implementation, everything that came with the demonstrations and the workshops and the practice hours, I think the practical implementation was what was most helpful for me.
What just to sort of summarize, you brought a lot in about the practice, and with fellow coaches, with different clients. And I know you also did a beautiful demonstration for us with one of your clients, that we've actually made available to all the other coaches with everyone's permission. And that was, again, a contribution from a coach towards Coaching Minds, which we are grateful for. And also, again, it helps with all the learning with the other coaches to see the demonstration from not just Paul, but also from another coach. And also what you've mentioned is that supervised feedback, those 5 sessions, the feedback that also count towards your growth. So there's quite a few things that at the end of the day, the videos, the seminars, the practical sessions all ties together and helped you to grow as a coach. So for me, the program basically really is there for you to grow and to learn as a coach. And your testament here is that you've actually, that's what the course has done for you, and that's what we set out to do with the course. Then I would also ask you, would you recommend Coaching Minds to future inspiring coaches? If not, yes, or if not, why? And why would you recommend Coaching Minds?
So yes is the short answer. Why? I'm trying to think of how to answer that in a way that doesn't repeat everything I've said. I think there's a lot of space to grow as the coach that you want to be within the Coaching Minds course. So I was specializing in neurodiversity and coaching autistic people, and that, I suppose, every course that I was looking at, I was trying to see whether it was going to give me tools that would help me with my neurodivergent clients. And some courses that you see, they particularly like certain kinds of coaching. And I liked that Coaching Minds gave me quite a broad basis in different kinds of coaching, and that there's a whole module on cognitive behavioral coaching and approach. There's a lot that can tie into well-being, which I think comes into any kind of coaching. You're not really going to be able to coach someone without looking at their holistic well-being at some point. So there was that broad base, but also the freedom to choose my own clients to do my practice sessions with. And I chose mostly neurodivergent clients to do that. And so I was able to specialize also within that. And when we were looking at, when going through the video sessions within the course, the reading that was always suggested was a lot of suggested reading, so you could pick out what was actually going to be most helpful for your practice. So I guess something that's good about Coaching Minds that I would recommend to other people is it's likely to apply to whatever practice you want to set up afterwards. And if you don't know what kind of practice you're going to set up afterwards, it gives you a broad base from which to select your niche. And that's kind of on top of the things that I would recommend about it being very flexible, but at the same time still with a personal touch, still being able to be part of a community.
It's great that you bring that in. And I just briefly, based on what you shared, the tools that is offered in the tools that comes with the different models, for instance, with cognitive behavioral coaching, we do coaching presence. There's different models and tools that is put available through the videos and the training in the course. And that basically comes into that what you say, there is a broader spectrum, but you can tailor it to your coaching practice that you want to do and your niche, and that you can work on your niche during the course. So that's basically what I'm getting highlighted from what you are sharing. I also just want to thank you for the time that you've spent with us today. going forward, what is your future plans for your coaching practice? I know you're going into neurodivergent coaching and working with autistic people, but what's your future plans with your coaching practice going forward?
So yes, I'm establishing my practice at the moment. I'm picking up clients and I'm having a lot of fun working with them. And I think that there's some work for me to be done on what exactly my niche is within neurodivergent coaching. So a little bit of honing of potentially what age group I want to work with, whether I want to work more with late diagnosed or with earlier diagnosed people, whether I want to go into coaching younger people at any point. At the moment, I'm mostly just coaching adults. So I need to refine my niche and something that, and stabilize my business. But once it's stabilized, something that I would be really interested in would be establishing systems wherein mentors can be trained. I'm thinking particularly within schools. Neurodivergent mentors can be trained to offer mentoring to younger neurodivergent people and try and set up a self-perpetuating system within communities of people, probably within schools, to allow neurodivergent people to offer each other mentoring, because I think there's a lot of value in peer mentoring, and that's a background from which I come from with an organisation within the UK that I would love to contribute to if I can.
I like the way that you bring in that you've got, it's huge future plans that you have, that you are starting small, that you are going to refine your niche even further. And we are looking forward to seeing what else you're going to accomplish with mentorship, implementing those into schools. And I love the vision and the vision that you've got, and the passion clearly shows through to me, the passion that you have for the niche that you are going into. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you are going to do in the future. And thank you for taking this interview with Coaching Minds and myself, and opening up and sharing your feelings, how you've seen things, your perspective. And just again, thank you very much for being here, and looking forward to seeing more of you. Thank you so much, Katie.